I remember the afternoon when I first saw the woman. Mama and Papa were out in the streets looking for food, and, as usual, they had left me in my room, with my books, in the small apartment that we shared with the woman. The door to my room was firmly closed, the understanding being that it would remain so. In the past, Mama and Papa used to lock the door when they went out, but I hated this because I could never decide whether they were locking me in or the woman out. Either way, I would spend most of the day crying. Some days I never bothered to open my books, and when they returned at the end of the day, they would find me bleary-eyed and unable to tell them what I had learnt. They mustered hastily assembled excuses such as, "It's for your own good," or "We wouldn't do it unless it was absolutely necessary." But still I cried and ignored my books, so eventually they agreed that they would leave the door unlocked. However, I was forbidden to venture out and into the small apartment. That was our understanding, that the door to my room would be closed, unlocked but closed, and I would submit to voluntary captivity for my own safety until they returned at the end of each day. I was standing by the high window in the tiny kitchen. It was my habit to abandon my books after an hour or two of studying, and looking out of the kitchen window had become my own special pastime. First, I would drag a small wooden crate across the floorboards to the window, and then I would mount it so that my chin could rest on the lower sill. From this precarious position, I looked down into the streets. It had been some time now since anyone in our community had witnessed splendid decorative hats upon women's heads, or gentlemen walking with canes. From my perch, I observed only bent backs, bare heads, and, littering the streets, lonely corpses. Occasionally, I would see a scholar, an old man in a full-length coat, shamelessly dependent upon his walking stick, beard flowing, eyes damp, a pile of books tucked under one arm, his soup pot hanging idly from his waist. These men peered at the useless future without the aid of their round, wire-rimmed spectacles, and they depressed me the most, for it was all too easy to calculate the